This is an introduction to the Clinical Placement Quality Survey, the educator version, or the CPQSE. This survey was developed to evaluate allied health placement quality from the perspective of the clinical educator. The work describing the development of this instrument has been published in the Australian Journal of Clinical Education. So what is the CPQSE? This survey can be used to evaluate the quality of allied health clinical placements from the perspective of the clinical educator. The educator survey was developed subsequent to the student version, and like the student version, it is based on current best practice research. In order to optimise clinical learning environments, we need a complete picture of clinical placement quality. This includes the perspectives of both students and clinical educators, and information gained from these two surveys can be compared and combined to develop and to guide development of targeted implementation strategies for optimising placement quality. The educator survey also has established test, retest, reliability and content validity. So what does it look like? The educator version is made up of 63 questions. The questions are rated either on a yes, no, unsure scale or on an agreement scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. So for example, the yes-no scale is used to respond to questions like opportunities for the students to ask questions and clarify placement information were provided. The agreement scale is used to respond to items like, as a clinical educator, my role is supported by my department and team, and the support provided by the university was appropriate to the situation. The educator survey tells us about the educator's perception of placement quality in terms of 4 themes: the student-educator relationship, a culture for quality, collaboration between the placement provider and education provider, and opportunities for learning, including access to facilities and resources. Of these themes, the relationship between the student and educator is particularly important as it has the greatest impact on successful outcomes for placement. So the educator survey was designed and validated following a similar process to the preceding student survey. In phase 1 of development, items for the educator survey were developed by a research team using the Siggins-Miller report, the student survey and other published surveys. A panel of clinical education experts was convened to review the items in order to establish content and face validity. And this panel included 18 members who contributed from across the Queensland universities and the public health sector from both physiotherapy and speech pathology. In phase 2, the survey was pilot tested before being administered and no changes were required at that point. Test-retest reliability was assessed by participants completing the survey twice over a 2-week period. The survey demonstrated minimal measurement error with an average intra-class correlation coefficient of over 0.8. It demonstrated stability over time with all but one item achieving close or exact agreement, and it demonstrated acceptable internal consistency for each construct in the survey. And in the future, an exploratory factor analysis is required once a larger sample size can be achieved. So the educator survey has been in use since 2017, and there are several ways that it has been or can be applied. These include being used to provide feedback to universities and to placement providers, as well as being used in further research to assess quality indicators of placements at a specific local site. If you have any questions regarding the Clinical Placement Quality Survey educator version or its application, please contact us through these details and we would be very happy to support you in applying and interpreting this survey.